Well, for millions of parents, the journey of having a child living with autism begins in a similar way. You notice that something is different about your son or daughter.
And then you try to figure out what's going on, then begins the search for answers. How do you get help for your child? Well, in today's Living Connected, Brooke has a story of two women who are using what they have learned to help other parents.
That's right. One of the women has a background in clinical psychology, and she's making it her mission to get autism care to all children in need as quickly as possible. The other woman is a SoCal mom who says that kind of early intervention would have changed her entire family's life.
At first I wasn't, worried, but he cried all the time and it was so difficult to put him to sleep. Just by gut instinct alone, I was like, okay, bring the Pilates ball, we'll try and rock him to sleep. It was really, really difficult.
Dina Kimmel says when her son Gabriel turned 1, he started putting his hands over his ears. A doctor told her that was just his way of playing peekaboo, but she says she knew it was more.
I said, he's not speaking. I said, he's not turning to his name, but he was so happy.
Kimmel says she asked for a referral to speech therapy, and once again, her doctor told her nothing was wrong, to wait until Gabriel was 2.5. She says there was no way she was waiting.
I called a speech therapist, and I went to her. And she did an evaluation, and I said, I'm just curious, do you think, because I started researching, I go, do you think he has autism? And she goes, do you think he has autism? I said, okay, you're not for me, but let me have the evaluation. And I looked at it, and she said autism spectrum disorder.
After 21 months of questioning doctors and begging for help, Kimmel says her baby boy finally got a diagnosis: moderate to severe with autism spectrum disorder and sensory processing disorder.
And I know people out there, they hear this, but they really, really need to hear it. It is imperative that our kids get diagnosed before 3 years old.
Imperative, but not easy to get, which is why Kayla Wagner says she has dedicated her career to creating healthcare solutions.
Children all across America right now are waiting over 27 months for a diagnostic evaluation. So I knew that we had to get parents help.
So, but while getting that early diagnosis is critical, it is just the first step. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about what happens next, from diagnosis to treatment plans. And in the case of Dina, how it inspired her to create a safe space for other families like hers all over the world. You are going to want to hear that. And then the second woman you heard from, Kayla Wagner, you're going to hear more from her about what she's doing to fill the gap in early access to treatment.
Yeah, so Brooke, we're having these conversations at home right now because Ethan is now seeing a speech therapist. He doesn't say that many words. So of course the first thought is, could he have autism? We don't know. We had him evaluated, but as the speech therapist told us, development with kids is so different before the age of 3, but it is important to get that kind of help if, in fact, a child does have autism. So it's a kind of a delicate balance there.
And, just thinking about what you're saying, development, it's so different. It's so, there's not one way for every single kid.
That's right.
And then knowing that, and then also having the speed bumps of just getting access to even figure out what's right for your kid, it's too much.
It can be honestly overwhelming for a parent to think about, really.
Because you just want to make sure you're doing the best you can for your baby.
And then you're comparing development to all the other kids in the playground. It's just, it's a lot for a parent to deal with. So I'm happy that
there's also such a part too. It's so beautiful what she's doing to all these points for community purposes, where people can get together and talk and offer support.
Absolutely.
There's such a power in that too.
And just like so many of the stories that we have here, I feel like there's just like this tiny message in that is just grace.
Yes.
And there's so many of the stories that's we're going to hear more from both of these ladies tomorrow again, but just something, she talked to me, she told me a story about getting kicked off public playgrounds and things like that, and just she's doing her best.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes we have to just take a step back and allow for that.
Grace
and
upon grace.
No emotion is unnatural. It's all normal because you're feeling it, you know?
That's your baby.
It's your baby.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brooke, as always.
Thank you.